love has got you feeling too much. It's feeling too much for you. Then all my love is gonna dance with someone that shows love, not you. Just dance. If all my love has got you feeling too much, it's feeling too much for you. Then all my love is gonna dance with someone that shows love, not you. Just dance. Has got you feeling too much. It's feeling too much for you. Then all my love is gonna dance with someone that shows love, not you.
What is up with it, everybody? It's me, Drizzly Bear, and here with 16th Tower, and this is Mini RPG of the Week, Season 3, Episode 10. We love to have you here, people. What do we have in store for us today? Well, I think we have a map from Vortex featuring Wawa, and I don't know. I think we're going to have a good time today. It's maybe not the hardest map, but we'll see it when we get to the warm-up round. Little optimizations are going to go a long way today. I think that's what we're going to see. I think that's like life, little things.
Yeah, that's that's definitely, I think, the vibe. It's kind of the game of life is the map we have tonight. Yeah. We might not have heard that was the influences, but I think you're exactly right. That's what we're looking at tonight. We're already on episode 10 of season 3, double digits. Getting up there now.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're filling in tonight. New Alaic, our kind of regular host here on Mini RPG of the Week. He is still yet to be found after last week's Titan submarine disaster. So he'll come back sometime.
Yeah.
But
it was the Logitech game controller. Somebody forgot to disconnect their Bluetooth PS5 DualShock, and just some wires got crossed or didn't.
Well, as soon as I heard that was the controller they were using for the sub, I knew there would have to be a gamer down there. I was hoping it wouldn't be a gamer that I knew,
They were trying to no-clip to the center of the Earth. It wrong warps you to Atlantis, actually, but, sometimes things don't work out for you. Yes, New Lake is sailing halfway across the world to, recolonize, the Norwegian or something. I don't exactly know what's going on there, but he's landed safe and sound. I've gotten contact from him, and thankfully, because of that, we won't be having to send any goons out to eliminate any of the racers tonight. You're all safe. Don't worry about it. Just have a good time. So, do we have a name for the track? It's Mini RPG Initiation. Initiation. I think is the name of the map tonight. I think that's a nice little one, because in our description here that we've gotten from the mappers, it talks a little bit about what you're going to find tricky if you're maybe a high experienced driver, but also for beginners, which I quite like. There's maybe a tenth or 2/10 to save on a freewheel section for the top 10, the high skill, high elo drivers here. But if you're just starting out, things you might want to practice are kind of on that 7th checkpoint and that 5th checkpoint as well, keeping your airtime low. We're going to see it in practice, obviously, when we get to our warm-up rounds, which I think we might be able to throw it over to soon. But those are going to be the things to look out for if you're kind of a newer player. Just, there's a lot of risk, but, managing that and mitigating it. Here we are, throwing it over to Luce's. Might be able to now. Yeah. Nice.
So I think we're expecting. We're expecting a map that I think, kind of as you were saying, maybe isn't super difficult, but there are a lot of little spaces for optimization. So hopefully we'll get to see some of those be discovered by our players, especially now as we're in kind of our first 15 minutes of practice. That's how we structure things here at Mini RPG of the Week. We start with a 15-minute practice round, and then we move on into our eliminations.
It's just like your football on a Sunday, folks. You do your quick 15-minute warm-up, few high knees, kick the heels out the back, and just get yourself warmed up and get going. And you'll probably figure out as much doing the rounds of elimination as you will in the warm-up. Especially if you're getting grips to this for the first time. A load of people having a nice little sleep over there at the finish line. They're probably all checking out the GPS, are they?
Probably. Unless there's some really exciting aspect of this map that I'm missing, it's probably a bit of GPS watching.
Yeah.
But maybe, if you can clip your camera just through the wall in the right way at the very end of the track, there's an Easter egg you can see. And maybe our players just instinctively knew it was there and checked it out tonight.
You know yourself. So I think what we're looking at here for a good time is about 61 seconds and some change, maybe 61 and a half, maybe 62 in actual rounds. But, if you cut your teeth on this enough as you get going, you might be able to bring that down to about 60 seconds and 2/10 is what we're kind of seeing as the projection. But we'll have to see. Obviously, we have some very good drivers here, and we'll see what they can do with it. It's always fun to see, in these kind of closed competitive environments, what really good players can do in a short amount of time.
Exactly. We might even be able to get a sub 1 minute. It would require, from what I've heard, a lot of tight cuts, some very good driving, but it might not be out of the realm of possibility of what we see tonight. Maybe as we get into our final rounds, maybe one of our players, a couple of them might be able to pull off a sub 1 minute. But that's kind of around what we're expecting to be around the best times for this evening's track.
Yeah, we're seeing Flo go through the tricky section that was being talked about with the, maybe more daring lines that you're going to need to cut with that freewheel section. Those are always tricky if you're not used to doing them. I'm sure most of you at home know that more than I. But I think your fine control there is going to make a big difference. It's kind of cool to see something, because we've seen a lot of tech maps. At least when we've been commentating together, we saw a very technical map that was maybe too technical, even. But well, in the opinion of some, that may or may not be the case.
In my opinion, I love the level of technicality, but I'm not sure how the people who actually played the map enjoyed it that much.
That's why we're behind the microphone and these players are behind the wheel. So keeping on board with flow, they're finding their way around that little hairpin into the accelerator, and just I think it's interesting. I think there's a lot of like interesting turns and corners. So you can see where the simplicity is, but where there's also like a high ceiling for improvement.
Yeah, definitely. And I think kind of when you do what this map has done, where you kind of combine that like relative simplicity but with that high ceiling, it does create situations where there are room for upsets, because if you're going for kind of the highest sort of level of skill you can to get past that simplicity, that can backfire. And certainly from a spectator's point of view, that can create some interesting things to watch, but also from a player's point of view, that's something to watch out for on this map tonight, and kind of make sure that, especially in our 15 minutes that we have here at the start of our game, you kind of nail down sort of what do you think are the sort of more highly skilled parts of the stage. So we're kind of seeing players get to grips with those now.
Oh yeah, we're seeing Dr. XP's showing some good transitions there, getting your angle and your airtime low so that you can like transition well onto these angular pieces of volume. Very important. Ooh, I like that little drop down. That's
cool, right? Yeah.
A lot of like changing of gears. Ooh.
Yeah, just a little drop onto the grass. It's nice as well, I think. I guess just on an aesthetic level, maybe when you first see the level, you think, okay, we're just going to be on these little platforms above the grass, kind of a floating platform type level. No. We're going down.
I think we're seeing some cheese here. Dr. XP has managed to bypass the no fucking steering part of the level by going around the check. So anybody who is expecting to maybe have their skills tested in the no steering part for the risky fin as well, you might be better served by increasing your control and maybe sacrificing the line being as clean as possible.
Yeah, and I mean, certainly that looks like a strategy that is at least going to get you safely through the early rounds of tonight's game. Although, again, I'm not sure. Maybe we'll have to get a look at it again to double check. Do you think it saves time? I think you do still save more time if you actually go for the riskier route.
Probably. I mean, like, I wouldn't put it past, sometimes when you're designing a track or a level, you have a theme in mind, and you may overlook small things like that, but maybe you're safe because, like you say, the time it might take to go around and make sure you don't bonk probably costs as much time as anything else, Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm expecting some good stuff here. I like the consistency of following one driver for a good bit, because you get to see the process. Okay, I'm getting word from God himself. Yes, God.
Yeah, I was noticing
perhaps I am.
That God has a very discerning ear tonight and has decided to grant a miracle to my good co-host Drizzly Bear. He is going to come down on Drizzly Bear and bless him with a better quality sound coming through. Is that correct, Drizzly? Yeah. The miracle's happened. A miracle has occurred.
Sorry, folks. I ate a compressor and a distortion pedal earlier, so sorry about that. I was still an extant phenomenon, but just in lower fidelity.
We're going for a lo-fi type of appeal on tonight's edition of Mini RPG of the Week. We don't want to keep it too consistent over here.
So the way the lo-fi girl came out as like there was what was it, the synthwave lo-fi synthwave boy.
I saw there was the synthwave boy. Yeah.
So maybe we're like the trucker friend boy now. Maybe that's our little vibe for today.
Yeah. We're going to be broadcasting the next edition of Mini RPG of the Week over ham radio.
Oh my! Last time I heard about ham radio was like, I don't know, the cartoon show Recess or Ed, Ed and Eddie or something. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Maybe
I
it
always
was
picture...
Rocket Kids.
Did you ever watch John Carpenter's Big Trouble in Little China?
No, I have not.
Good
Is
movie.
it like The Thing?
No. It's like The Thing in that they're like John Carpenter's two best movies, but The Thing is like much more kind of like serious. Obviously, it's like kind of a horror movie, whereas Big Trouble in Little China is sort of like an action comedy, nearly.
Yeah.
They're really good though. But at the start of it, Kurt Russell's character is like a trucker who broadcasts via ham radio, and like the joke of his character is that he does like basically a 1980s version of a podcast over his ham radio in his truck that no one listens to.
That's really interesting. I conceived of a thought, a grand thought experiment. I invite all of you at home to participate in with me. I was talking to someone about like why people on like the road are so angry and bad at driving, etc. I could rant about this for hours, and I was thinking to myself, all we have to communicate with each other is like big honking horns. It's so aggressive. I realize what my suggestion invites also would recreate the volatility of like Call of Duty like lobbies where people would just scream slurs at each other.
I'm really not certain that the solution to road rage is to introduce all chat. Like, I don't think that's the solution.
Proximity ham radio. I'm just saying, like, it could. You might think twice before saying it, because like they're right there. They're in a 2-ton depth.
I mean,
like with an engine.
It could either make road travel way more calm, or it could make it 100 times worse. But there's no way to know unless we introduce it. So
one's in the chat.
We're just gonna
one's if you think it's a good idea. Twos if you would challenge this idea in some way. Ooh, we're on board with multiple Mini RPG of the Week winner, Icetum. Very strong
here.
driver.
Mini RPG of the Week royalty. As he's been described by some being me just there 3 seconds ago.
I think that's the only time I've heard that, but you know, you have to start with one before you can get to two.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Like, there has to be a route from which the royal family tree can grow, and I think it's going to be Icetum. So certainly, I am excited to see how Icetum's descendants do in future editions of this competition.
Oh yeah. Do you think it's a thing like where Icetum is like really good at the game? The kids are born with a love for the game, but just don't have like the God Gamer touch. And they're just burdened with like this, it's that kind of thing of like generational.
I'm picturing like Trackmania Succession. That's what I'm picturing, you know?
Yeah. Kendall Roy. I haven't watched it, but he's hot or something, I think.
Kendall Roy, I don't know if he's hot.
Is he baby girl? I've heard many things.
He's baby girl. I don't know if he's hot, but he is baby girl.
Is Icetum our Kendall Roy? Is Icetum baby girl?
I think Icetum's more of our Logan Roy. Logan is the Brian Cox character. He's the father. He says fuck off a lot. Now, I haven't heard Icetum say fuck off, but if he did, I think it would sound pretty good. So I think this is really... I think that's the solid foundation that any good dynasty needs, whether it's a broadcasting empire or a family of kids who have been homeschooled to play Trackmania.
Right, and the stern ability to tell someone to fuck off. Very good, excellent. Okay, I think I'm seeing exactly what Vortex and Wawa are talking about when they're talking about the airtime thing. So this is what, checkpoint 3 or 4 coming up here?
Yeah.
Or is that 5? I don't know. I wasn't counting. But that is a tricky transition to keep your speed with, and then coming around this corner here, getting it tight, and not going so tight that you end up too far left coming
We
around
kind of
there.
saw it
you won't
nearly
be able
happen
to
with
turn left.
Eistem there, where he was nearly sort of even spinning out a bit with kind of how sharply he'd gone into that drift around the corner. So it does look like that's maybe one of the more kind of skill necessary parts of our track this evening.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the skill tests. You have like road to grass to dirt in a very short amount of time as well, which might not seem a lot, but I'm sure there are like nuances to like nailing that down exactly how you want it to go.
Yeah, especially when it's like, it's not just those terrain transitions, but you've also got the fact that you're managing your speed, and there's a lot of sort of airtime to worry about as well, and you're having to kind of nearly come onto them at an angle as you're sort of immediately landing on the grass here and having to go in for a turn, then you're right off the grass onto another turn on the dirt. So it's just about kind of being able to juggle all the different variables that are all in play at this one part of the track.
And Eistem has foregone skipping. So instead of going through the freewheeling section, which I think is probably the favorite way to go through the route. Just not enough speed there. Speed checks.
Yeah.
Just after that checkpoint. At least you can reset quickly enough, but it's kind of funny. I've seen a lot of speed checks where the checkpoint's a little closer to it, so like your anticipation, your tension just builds. But as you're trying to repeat your little skill test, you might lose your nerve because of those few microseconds, those milliseconds. They add up, especially when the skill checks are maybe not few and far between, but they make up for all of the difference. It's a lot of little things rather than a big trick that you can cut the distance on.
Yeah. Going over now to Swiss time from Would You Believe It, the great country of Switzerland, taking another look at kind of this speed check section that we were just talking about, and we're kind of seeing maybe some of the ways that this check can go wrong. You can maybe go a little too high up, but there are kind of ways to build your speed back up, but with the risk of going a bit too high on this turn here, it's more that you lose that time if you don't take it as tight.
Okay, yeah, the transition off that little bit to the right is going to be the make or break there, I suppose.
I think so.
Because it gives you that little bit more horizontal velocity before you drop down. Okay. No eliminations this round, people. I'm looking at you in the chat. You're like, how many people are going to die? They're not going to die. Nobody dies this round.
No one's going to die forever. For the next like 2 minutes, okay?
Yeah.
It's safe. Ooh. We've got, it looks like 91 players tonight. Nice to see. This is pretty good numbers for a mini RPG of the week. But what 91 players does mean is that even though there's no eliminations this round, when we get to the end of next round and we see our first eliminations, we could be looking at a bloodbath.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know if it gets this high. It doesn't start with 16. It starts with 8 still, right?
I believe it still starts with 8. I've actually... this is the first time I've ever seen 91 players. This is the highest player count I've ever seen on a mini RPG of the week. 16 I think is more reserved for like if there's ever like 100 plus. I don't even know if there can be 100 plus. I think 100 might be the top.
Like 128 or something. Yeah, the binary numbers. Okay, well I think we're cut ahead to look at like where the front pack is coming in at, and a 62 seconds and 6/10. Looking pretty good. Especially on that first round, no pressure, kind of just walking it in as it were. Maybe making it towards the middle of the pack now, at least of those who are not going to DNF, because, first round, if you're just kind of like punting it, maybe you just take the time, settle in, use your time to sit on your hands, get the nerves settled. But we're on with Mouton Poilu. Is that how Swiss French people talk? I don't know.
Maybe this guy's not even Swiss French. He could be Swiss German, but he's mixing it up, Oh yeah, it's a ruse. His name is a red herring, and then you try and speak to him in French, and he goes 999.
999.
Okay. So yeah, no eliminations there in our first round. Getting to our second round now. Drizzly, do you have a prediction? How many people you think we might lose right now? If anyone in the chat's got one, let us know too.
I'm gonna call a 13. I don't know why I feel a 13. But I think that's what my heart is saying today. I usually believe in the people, but because we have just such a high attendance, I'm feeling a little bit higher.
I think with our high attendance, I might even go meaner. I'm going to say we might see 16 out in our first elimination round here. 16's a lot, but anything could happen in our first round. We could lose 91 people. This could be the shortest mini RPG of the week ever. Everyone could just mass DNF right at the end in form of protest about New Lake missing 2 weeks in a row or something like that. Anything could happen, okay?
Alex pulls the plug at the Trackmania servers. the mini
Alex
RPG
hears
of the
that-
week, like club, like its dues don't get paid, so that they cut our funding. You know.
Alex hears that people are DNFing over the fact that he hasn't been here in a couple of weeks, and he starts swimming the ocean to try and get back to Ireland as soon as possible. He will not let mini RPG of the week fall.
He used to be quite a good swimmer in his day, so I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, you can't be a bad swimmer and get in a boat. You know, they're not going to let you sail unless you can swim at least a little bit, probably. You would hope.
Okay, so there's like, I don't know if you've heard this really big news story recently. I think if you have enough money,
I forgot
anything
that
can
Alex had
happen.
already been crushed at 20,000 feet beneath the sea by the incredible pressure of the Northwest Atlantic Ocean.
Asher, look. And our drivers not crushed under the pressure of this mini RPG.
No, thriving under the pressure. We're coming into our last 10 seconds. We're still waiting on a couple of finishes, but it does look like most of our players are getting done. It looks like 64, so we might actually be seeing a fair amount of eliminations right now. 34 players eliminated. Whoa. Woof. Okay, we just lost a third of our player base for tonight.
I love you all. You tried valiantly. Hit the showers. We'll get them next week.
Yeah.
Oh my, that's like signing
Don't
up.
worry,
for
guys.
like
Alex will be
big-
back in 2 weeks, so you can bring your protest to an end then.
That's like you get to the end of one of those like really awe-inspiring, like motivational 80s movies, like the Mighty Ducks. They enter the big tournament and they just get fucking smoked. Wow. I think we must have really underappreciated it.
I loved when that would happen in Pokemon, and like they would never let Ash win. I think the first season of the Pokemon anime, or like one of them that I watched when I was a kid, so like up to like maybe Hoenn or something like that. Ash comes like 64th in the final championships.
Christ.
And it's just like, yeah, we love a guy who's just like kind of mediocre at what he spends his entire life doing.
God loves a trier. He was like 10 for like 23 years though. Cut him some slack. Like literally zero neurocognitive development.
When I was 10,
like
I beat a couple
forces
of Elite Fours, you know?
Huh?
When I was 10, I beat a couple of Elite Fours.
Yeah. Maybe it's just skill diff, you know? He gets gapped by the common 13-year-old. He just happens to be lucky. He was a Nepo baby, you know?
Yeah. You know, we thought Oak was doing something with his mom. That's actually been proven just by the fact that he kept going at Pokemon even after how bad he was. Oak was pulling strings in the background.
Oh, this is the other way you can do it. Maybe a bit slower.
Oh, there's a little speed boost pad under there.
Yeah.
So that can kind
We
of get
saw it
you
earlier
surviving.
in warm up, but I think the obvious faster way is to go round up the high route. Jozo finishing with that risky fin, not too bad for them. Especially in these early elimination rounds, I think we're on board with maybe our last Crusaders here, our last hurrah, maybe able to finish out, but maybe not qualifying. It's tough out here, folks. Give it a try yourself if you don't believe me.
Yeah. I should probably give it a try. I really should play a mini RPG of the week one time. Have you ever hopped on mini RPG of the week?
No. It's the sun is in my eyes. My little brother's
The
holding
next
the
time
controller.
neither of us are casting mini RPG of the week, we should hop on mini RPG of the week, and then we can experience what it's like to be the 1/3 of the competitors who don't get past the first elimination round.
I just I don't know if I can take another L, man. No,
Don't worry,
I
I
would
think
take an
so
L
many
for
were
the
handed
people.
out tonight that there's actually not any left in stock.
It was on wholesale bargain. Cyber Monday came early. Oh my. I would take an L for the people any day of the week. I hope you all know that. I will definitely be doing this. I will meet the requirements. If I need to like get a driver's license in the game, that might take me a while, but at my earliest convenience, I will attempt.
Yeah, you have to beat the tutorial of Trackmania before you can do Mini RPG of the Week.
Oh dear. I'll get an
So we're
author
looking,
time on that tutorial thing that's a straight line.
Oh, yeah. I like it. Not even world record. You'll just get author time.
Yeah.
Let's not shoot too high now.
God, no.
So we're looking at Frogos right now. Frogos is currently kind of in maybe our players who need to be watching out. They could be eliminated in this round. A little bit of a bonk there. That might spell the end of Frogos' time tonight. And another one still kind of competitive in that bottom four, but looks like kind of cementing their position there. Hopping up to Calva Ryder now at the top of our bottom four. Could maybe push ahead, but we are coming up to the end now. That risky finish might have saved them, but I don't know if they had the speed they might have needed to carry them through. But they actually were saved anyway. It looks like we had a couple of slip-ups, a couple of bonks, so Calva Ryder will Calva ride again in our next round.
This is like Namek blowing up. There's always so much more time to actually finish it out than you think there is. 5 minutes becomes 10, becomes 20, becomes weeks and months and years. You're in Inception, people. Never give up. You might see some people finishing, but like you'll only see like a lot of the time you'll see the bottom four who are in contention for qualifying or not.
Yeah.
And you'll maybe think to yourself,
an interesting attempt here. Did you catch what Frogos was trying to do there on the
threading the needle? I like it.
It was interesting. I don't know if it was ever going to work, but it was interesting.
That might have been the trick. They might have actually like innovated something in desperation, and then someone else will take it the distance.
I think, yeah, like your plan to introduce all chat to Road Rage, it might have innovated, but I think nine times out of 10, that's not what it was going to do.
Sure, look, it's always like people fucking around that find out these things. Like the people who discovered penicillin were just eating a watermelon or something, and then they found the mold on it, and they're like, that's interesting. Then scraped it off, continued to eat the watermelon or the melon. Might have been a honey.
Yeah, I mean, the first guy who drank cow's milk was just going around sucking any animal he saw, and it worked out for him.
Freak, man. Happy Pride. Let's get back to the fucking rounds. Oh, freewheeling where we're at.
Drizzly, that Pride does include people who are attracted to animals, so good to know.
Oh dear. Oh god. Oh,
you said
no.
it, man. You said it.
Well, I'm in like this the furry sense, not in the kind of like weird right wing people trying to associate bestiality to the you know what I'm saying. We're
So Neko right now. Neko, of course, being the Japanese word for cat. Drizzly, do you have anything to say about the cat species?
Would
any apologies?
They qualified for the round.
They qualify for something in your eyes, man.
Oh boy.
So we are kind of seeing how things are going. We're getting into our top 50 now with this round. All of our players currently competing and finishing up are in our top 50. Unfortunately, this is the end of the line for 4 of our top 50 players. Nitralis, unfortunately, one of them, Snixie and Plot, a DNF as well. So they are going to be our guys who we're going to say goodbye to.
We've seen Corzo and Nitralis, I think, last a little longer in these rounds before. I think that a small upset, but I think because of the size of the lobby, maybe there's a lot of killers in it this week that we might not be so familiar with ourselves. But, you know,
I mean, this is the crazy thing about kind of our lobby size this week. Our first round, we lost a third of our players. We're now into, I think, our 4th or 5th round of the night, and we've still got kind of high 40s amount of players left. We have got a lot of competitors in this week's edition of Mini RPG of the Week. And so we're getting to see kind of a lot more of this map than we might have seen of some of the others we've seen in the past.
Flo once again doing us the honors of giving us a little tour of the map down around the back here. We're transferring on to the tricky transitions between 5 and 7 before we get to the no steer. Nice little transition going around the high part, but getting the right angle so that you get a nice little skip of the little ramp down there and a nice angle to transfer back before the little speed check here. We get around onto the wide part. We get it lined up right. Oh, that's
Are
enough.
you
That's
seeing?
enough.
You got the. Okay, sorry, that was a checkpoint finish. I was like, did Ice just finish in 56 seconds? No, but that was just a
Imagine.
checkpoint. Ice kind of coming in at the 102.399, so we're kind of getting lower on those 102s. Still yet to be seen tonight if kind of as we get into our top times, we might come down to maybe a 1 minute, a 101, even maybe a sub 1, although that is looking less and less likely. Kind of as we are now more familiar with the map than we were when we made our predictions earlier this evening.
Ooh, Calva going for the risky fin again. I think we'll
Just cuts him
knock
through,
home.
yeah.
I was almost thinking they should,
but yeah, even with the reset, they still got through on that risky fin.
That's the nice thing about a risky fin. It's slightly faster, you know. So maybe I was wrong. Maybe I had to have more faith in them. You do kind of have to have the steel of mind to be a stone cold killer in those do or die moments. Have you watched Akagi, Dylan? Have you watched the
Akagi?
anime Akagi?
I haven't. What is
You have or you
Akagi?
haven't?
I have not.
Okay, so I am essentially repeating essentially an old bit that a Super Smash Bros. Melee commentator used to run back in the day. After he always
Hell
does
yeah.
this, he pontificates and philosophizes about anime he's watched, but it's about mahjong.
Oh,
And
okay.
It's about like a late 30-something guy who's like way in debt to the mob because he's lost it all gambling, and he's in like this do or die situation where he's like a couple million in debt, equivalent to euro or whatever. And you know, he's playing a game of mahjong basically to win it all back, or you know, they'll kill him. But this student, this like high school student, comes in to this like little gambling hall, that they're the little like office community space that they're doing their shady deal in, and basically the student like kid is like a fucking genius at mahjong. Takes over for the guy who's like in debt because he's like way too scared to be making any decisions or playing well. And the kid says to him after he like cleans house against all these experienced players, having never played mahjong before, is like, the reason you were losing is because you were afraid to die. You would have been playing way better if you had already accepted that you had died. And that's the steel, the mind, you know, the fortitude you need in
That's
mini
the philosophy you need
RPG
for
of the
risky
week.
fin. Yeah.
Go for that risky fin.
I think you've touched upon what is kind of the key of your point here, which is if you want to get good at mini RPG of the week, you're gonna have to pick up mahjong. Like, you know,
What's
it's gonna have
so
to happen.
good about the fucking anime is you can watch all, whatever, 30 episodes of it, you will not learn the rules of mahjong. There's so much explained, and you will not know what's going on by the end of it. It's beautiful, and you love
I
every
have a
second.
theory that the reason the best mahjong players in the world are like kind of stereotypically like elderly women is because you need to have that amount of life behind you to just have learned the rules of mahjong.
You just spend every day like learning like one rule and internalizing it, and by the time you do 365 of those, you have to do it again. You have to repetition legitimizes. You know how it is.
That's it. We're taking a look through Norxus's perspective. Now we're going to Wepix. Wepix kind of taking the safe route there on one of those first little jumps. I think that might be the first time we've been in the perspective of someone taking that safe route. And it looks like for Wepix, that safe route might kind of not be good enough anymore. As we're kind of getting into our higher numbers now, safe routes like that, they're less likely to get you through as you're left more with those players who are going for those more kind of highly skilled, a little bit more technique required routes through the map.
They might not have enough speed to really do this no steer or this no engine section particularly quickly, but they're tapping it in, you know. As much as they have gone the slower routes, they've overtaken someone. You know, Seko there.
They had it.
You know, it's
for a
in
second.
contention.
It's not, you know, it's still nearly anyone's game.
And
Not Wepix's, but you know, it went to someone. It was someone's game.
you know what? They tried their best.
They did.
Wepix
they
actually
DNF'd.
DNF'd. They might have
okay.
qualified there, save for the DNF, because Niama was still driving, and they only just
was
came
certain
into-
I had seen them cross the finish line, but it does look like a DNF there.
Yeah, sorry to say. We are down.
Sorry
we're
to say it, yeah.
Down to
I think we're down to
top
32 players
third,
left, 34
almost?
players.
Okay.
So yeah,
Nearly.
we've seen as many rounds as eliminated people that were just lost in the first round this evening in what has to be probably the biggest bloodbath that's ever been seen in Mini RPG of the week.
Which is really funny considering how this has been touted as like a simple, straightforward map.
Yeah.
Maybe there was more noob killers than we appreciated at first glance.
Maybe there was like just a power outage across mainland Europe, you know? It was just a stretch of France was just taken off the grid.
But like all I can see is like French flags ahead of us here.
You see, I think
Like French and Swiss flags. Maybe a handful of German drivers left with us here.
I think that's just like more the player base of Mini RPG of the week anyway.
Yeah, fair enough.
Unless, I don't know, maybe there was like a huge group of like Belgian players in tonight, but suddenly Belgium had to turn off its electricity or something.
You know, like how in like the UK at like 6 o'clock every evening, it's like a massive power surge on the system because everyone's making a cup of tea after Coronation Street.
Yeah.
Maybe that happened in Belgium.
No, what happened was for some reason we had a huge surge in players from Liechtenstein, and the Liechtenstein grid couldn't handle 30 people running their computers at once.
Jeez, they were all on the one power line adapter, like in their hostel or whatever. Just blew a fuse.
It wasn't even one of the lines, it was just like a huge brick that they were all plugged into.
One W.
There's actually a
one
crater
laptop.
in what remains of the country now.
They were all using tilt controls like in Mario Kart 8.
That's what I'm personally waiting for to get kind of to hop into it, an edition of Mini RPG of the Week. I am waiting for the tilt controls patch to be pushed for Trackmania. And as soon as that's there, I will get out my Wii wheel. I will find a way to connect my Wii controller to Steam, and I will win an edition of Mini RPG of the Week.
I will not tell you that is definitely already possible, as we're on with Mange Molabole, an often seen name in Mini RPG of the Week, trailing at the back to start. But you know, I feel like we need to maybe give a little bit more oomph, a little more zest, because we're seeing names that commonly do, you know, last until the end. In these kind of 30s and 20s, you know, I think we're usually a little more lax, but I think at this stage we're like actually seeing quite good names. And he bonks! No!
He bonks.
Nice transition. I think we're going to recover well. You can catch up a lot of speed.
It does look like we're going to recover out of it. But Marshmallow Bole, Jozo as well. Again, as you were saying, these are kind of players who, in a traditional week of Mini RPG of the Week, we might expect to see them finishing a bit higher, but they're already kind of being pushed to the back of our pack as we enter this evening's top 30. So we are kind of seeing that thing where maybe kind of the increased player count we're seeing this evening is down to some real sort of kind of Mini RPG of the Week snipers coming in and taking some of those top spots. Manchma does manage to recover and will qualify this round, but again, we're kind of seeing this where we're kind of are getting to nearly a knife's edge now, where you've kind of really start to bust out the skills already at this point, where we're around 25 players left, which in certainly past editions of Mini RPG of the Week, I can think of rounds where there would have been 30 people in there where you would have been pretty safe on safe routes and stuff like that. Not an option tonight.
Yeah, you're actually seeing like the speed checks that have been catching people all night. You know, they're just catching. Oh, I'm sorry to cut myself off, but Lingo or Ilngo, depending on if that is an I or an L, they've hit the 1-2.
Oh yeah,
sorry, the 61.2. The
we got down to our 61.
Yeah, we're down to our 61
and
2/10, I think, as well, which is I think what was suggested maybe the faster time you're going to hit in a round.
I think that kind of does add to the point as well that we are seeing that kind of a lot of our boosted player count this evening might be kind of more highly skilled players. So it's nice to see kind of Mini RPG of the Week start to pick up some of these players who can make things kind of a bit more competitive, bit of a more exciting game for the players, and a little bit more of an exciting watch for spectators and commentators as well.
Oh yeah, I love the concept of hidden bosses. Just someone you've never heard of in your goddamn life, and they're just like dicing you up on the sticks. Like, I don't know that I've seen Lingo in a mini RPG of the week before, at least not setting track records ahead of Ice,
No,
ahead
neither
of
have I,
Yannick's, and our usual names up there.
It's like
Rhetoric here at the back, trailing behind Gallier, and we're going to see another speed check here. Nice transition down onto the black ramp there. They're going to go for the risky fin. I think they're going to have to risk it all. Maybe too late.
It looks like just missed it. They could still fill it off, although it looks like, unfortunately for Rhetoric, that mess up of the risky fin does manage to cost them their position in the rest of today's game. With what you were saying there, kind of about hidden bosses, have you heard the story of? There was this woman who she had got her kid a Game Boy, and one of the games she had got was Tetris, and she ended up getting like really into Tetris. And this woman just ended up like playing Game Boy Tetris every day for like years. And one day she was just like talking to someone about it. And someone was like, oh, you should like take a look. Like there are communities, they do like speed runs or they do like score challenges on Tetris. And she took a look and she realized that she like easily just held the world record for Game Boy Tetris. And like she had not been aware of this community at all, but suddenly she was just like, oh yeah, this is the world record for Game Boy Tetris. I beat that like years ago because I just play this game every day for years.
That's so sick. I love that, and I love the accessibility of just like a video game. You don't like, for some you need a computer, some you need a fancy computer, but most of the time it's just like you need a functioning way to control it and a screen to look at it on. And it could be anyone. Like, it could be just someone's mom. Your mom could be better than you at Mini RPG of the Week Trackmania, You could be better.
It used to happen to me when I was a kid. I would like be playing like Pokemon Fire Red. I would be struggling, and then I would wake up and like my mom would have just like played it for half an hour and beaten whatever I was struggling with.
So was that like a punitive thing? Like whenever you didn't do well in school, your mom would just beat Pokemon for you and like.
No. I don't even know what it was. I think she just like wanted to play it, but like I remember, I think it was like Victory Road in Fire Red. I just like turned my game on one day and it was beaten, and I was like, oh, okay, there's Victory Road.
To be fair, like for Victory Road, I'd almost be like, thank you, as opposed to like, damn, I wanted to play that bit because like. Victory
I
Road's
do not know if I had the patience for Victory Road when I was 6 years old.
And we're down to what? 18 players?
Our top 18 right now. So very soon, I think the next round after this one, we're going to be stepping into 2 eliminations per round. So still a bit of mini RPG of the week left this evening. As we get into our top 18, it's kind of going to be interesting to see how things develop, because we really are at this stage this evening where it is all about getting your speed checks, getting your lines going around corners, and kind of pulling off the highly skilled sort of airtime transitions and things like that this stage has to offer. So kind of nice to see at this stage where we still got a decent heft of players in. There's a lot of skill riding on your position right now.
Okay, and we're on board at the back of the pack with Black Dream, coming onto those little finicky transitions and that wide transition at the back of that ramp before the no engine section. The cut is clean, but is it clean enough? Coming around the little volume there, up and around, staying wide to the right. Can we get the landing correct for the transition for the speed check? We can. Nice little transition onto the black volume, over to the ramp, and over to the next jump before the risky fin. Are we going to make it? Are we going to take it?
It looks like we're going to take it. And we're going to take it. Black Dream ends up through at 7th place. Lingo, a Canadian player. I don't know if we noticed that before, but Lingo is a Canuck. And Lingo again going to qualify. Isom Manjwala Bole, it looks like Galenium even, kind of recognized names from the Mini RPG of the Week sphere. They're not going to make it through to our next round as we head into our top 14 of this evening. So, kind of, especially with Eistrom there, kind of one of our traditionally more higher ranking Mini RPG of the Week players, gone kind of this relatively early in the competition. So we really are kind of seeing this high skill level play that we've noticed tonight.
Are you telling me Eistrom, giant titan of the community, is out before a Canuck that I've never seen before? What is happening?
I mean, it's interesting because I think Logan Roy in Succession might be a Canuck. I think he's like Scottish Canadian or something. That mightn't be true. I haven't watched that show. I didn't watch the last season. I only watched season 1 and 2. I could just be wrong, but we could be seeing some poetic irony there, at least in the made-up version of these lives that I have constructed in my head, if nowhere else.
So what we're getting at here, folks, is that Lingo is currently baby girl.
Lingo, we're gonna crown Lingo the new baby girl of Mini RPG of the week.
I'm just getting this in from President Joe Biden right now. We are receiving fan cams of Lingo. If anyone has submissions, please send them to Nualaic on Twitter or to MROTW on Twitter, please. Fan cams, baby girl. Now,
if you don't have Twitter, if you just want to put one in, like maybe a message in a bottle or something, it's possible Nualaic might be able to pick it up from Davy Jones' locker where he is currently residing. So.
Yeah, just like one of those holographic cards where you kind of flick it in the light and it does the full, like the different scenes with the transitions.
If anyone wants to send a flip book in a bottle out to the Atlantic Ocean.
Folks, you know what's easier than making a flip book or a hologram or any of that stuff is signing up for Mini RPG of the Week, making maps for Mini RPG of the Week. Wawa, who's one of the featured mappers for today, I don't think has mapped a map before, but it looks pretty sweet. I mean, simple to follow, but hard to do well. We're on with Lucario. What's your thoughts on Lucario? Gen 4, goated or overhyped by nostalgia?
I think Gen 4 is goated. I think if I were to make my own personal ranking of Gen 4, I'm not sure how high Lucario would go.
That's fair.
I don't know. Maybe the kind of more furry Pokemon designs, maybe I don't go in for them as much.
You don't like the
I'm thinking of Pokemon that's not true for. Maybe it's just Lucario. I think Lucario might just be overhyped, and in my sort of natural status as a hater, I dislike it for that.
So you're bad cop, I'm good cop. I must now say Lucario's the best Pokemon of Gen 4. And whatever you do in your spare time thinking about that is none of my business. Black Dream, who we were on board with before, who was qualifying more comfortably, is now at the back fighting for their lives just on the heels of Pun Pun. Going to make a nice little low transition there before we reach the speed check at the end. I think they're going to make it, but they're just a little too late, maybe? We have a DNF behind them, so it's just up to this, and it's plenty. It's so much.
Yeah.
And baby girl, no!
Baby girl! I'm hearing word that it's Jover.
It's so Jover.
I just saluted. My camera wasn't turned on, but I for real saluted.
I felt it.
We're hearing that Lingo got scammed. Could we please get an investigation into this? If I hear that there's been tampering and someone has prevented Baby Girl from qualifying into our top 10 in position of Lucario, some would say worst Pokemon of Gen 4, some would say worst Pokemon ever, some would say worst creature design of all time, there'll be hell to pay.
And
I'm sorry.
You know what?
I'm sorry for what I just said about your favorite Gen 4
They are at
Pokemon.
the back of the pack, fighting it out with Pun Pun. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. They're entering the time dimension right now, lagging out of their goddamn mind. Getting the corner nicely, though. The transition onto the next
look like they've managed to recover. Lucario is going to continue tonight, unless there's another upset. But it looks like as we're heading into our no engine section, Lucario's doing pretty well. So I guess someone's been EV training. Nice.
Well,
nice.
You know, if we have anything to learn from South Korean tournaments, we might just have to call this whole thing null and void. That's a shout out to you VGC players in the audience. I'm looking at you, Broccoli Baz. Luce's way ahead. Taking the easy thing, though.
If there's anything we can learn from, was that my internet, or what's going on with Pun Pun here?
I have no idea. Did they activate their stand?
I think Pun Pun may have just fallen into the time dimension.
Oh dear. It catches us all off guard every so often.
Unfortunately, the time dimension did not help out Pun Pun.
No. The time dimension is a fickle mistress, and often when you enter the void, you are not there for a good time.
No.
We're into our top 8, though.
Top 8. You can have 8 of a lot of things, and right now we've got 8 Mini RPG of the Week competitors.
If I could have 8 of anything, top would be one of them. Let's... Skies and Art dragging a little bit behind. I'd say that's at least half a second, but will they be able to make it up on these transitions? Up to the left, down, across. It's going to come down to that transition to the big turn, I think. The drop down here. Oh, we have a bonk. Is that Yannick's?
It wasn't Yannick's. Yannick's is still pretty comfortably at the top right now. I'm not sure who bonked there. It is Yannick's. Yannick's has bonked. I take back what I said.
We might be able
Yannick's
to
was
recover
kind
here.
of up there at the front. Yannick's one of our kind of more traditionally kind of top finishing mini RPG of the week players. It looks like that bonk might have been a real upset for their performance this evening. I'm not sure
Look.
Yannick's
Sometimes
is
we
gonna
throw
be
for
able to-
content, people. That's okay. We need to keep our brand recognition up. Yannick's, thank you. Oh, we have a reset behind them. 2 eliminations though, and it was
another reset
not
from
meant to
Yannick's as well.
be.
Unfortunately, that's the end of Yannick's and Black Dream's competition this evening. Heading
I saw
into now
Black
our top
Dream.
6, though.
I saw them
The Black Dream
explode,
is over.
and I
We've
thought
woken from the Black Dream.
Yannick's might have been able to sneak in because there was just this horrifying collision.
Yeah.
But sadly, we were just outside of the 1-person elimination zone. We're there now with our top 6: Lucario, Artis, Gold, Skies and Art. Is that okay? I saw the T and I was like, is that a TM or is it just a normal T? Because I've got people saying Icetum now because someone else has people saying Astronautum, and I'm just so afraid of saying the wrong name. We're on with Edith.
I'm the Astronautum guy. I don't know if you didn't realize you're here with royalty tonight,
No, I
but I'm
forgot
actually the
about
team guy.
You're the originator, the original.
The original guy who doesn't know what the game he's casting is, guy.
It's a beautiful thing to be. It's like, people who can't teach, and people who can't teach like PE, and people who can't do that. Commentate mini RPG of the week, and we're on board fighting with Skies and Art and Edis, fighting it out of the back.
Is it? Oh, Edis. Yes.
Sorry, the name Edis has just been reminding me to all my Muslim friends out there, Eid Mubarak. The spelling is
A happy Eid Mubarak, guys. Let's not forget what mini RPG of the week is really about, which is celebrating the holidays. And
You know it.
So for that, Eid Mubarak to everyone watching.
All right, we're down to our top 5.
Top 5. We have got, I think Lucario has made it into the top 5. And as well, I think we got Skyzen's in there too. Let's have a look. Here they are. Our top 5 tonight. We've got Artisetum, Goldtum, Skyzen Art, Worldtum, and Lucariotum. I'm going to go for, I want Skyzen Art to win because Skyzen Art, our only player who hasn't got Trackmania in their username. And I like to see someone who stands out from the crowd.
I'm going to go Game of Thrones Season 7 on your ass. That's way too obvious. I don't like it. Artisum is going to win. That's who my money is on. So we're just going to have to see it play it out. I think they may have crashed and bonked already, so it's going to be a great comeback story.
And it looks like the comeback has worked. There was another bonk from Gold, I think. Yeah.
Okay, we'll be seeing you and Chesney Hawks in a Vanish Oxy action ad soon. I don't know if you remember that, but I think after this no steer section, we're pretty confident in our transition here. Unless someone bonks on the speed checks, there's 2. There's 1 here. Everyone clears it. Gold nipping at the heels, but it's half a second. There's nothing to be done about this, I don't think, unless Artis messes up a risky fin. Potentially.
No. Yes. Artis and Skyzen both seem to have messed it up a little bit just at the end, allowing Gold to get through. So Gold is going to be at least taking what's the medal after bronze? What do you get for 4th place? Iron medal? I don't know. Gold's going to be in the top 4 of tonight's competition. And unfortunately for Artis, they're going to top out at number 5 this evening.
Okay, so Skyzen has keyboard mashed in all chats, so I think I am now on their team. Warltum is giving us a nice little scenic view before they're going to catch up with the rest of the pack there. Oh dear, that's probably a second or 2 in difference. That's tough, but as we've seen, people have been bonking on the little risky fin at the end, and there's nothing to say that they are guaranteed to pass any of the speed checks onto the little Tetris piece, as we were talking about mothers earlier. Shout out to your mom. I love her personally. While going to transition onto this little bit of geometry here up the ramp. I love this tight little intersection of the quarter.
Let's not talk about tight little
road.
stuff just so quickly after you've said how much you love my mother. Maybe
She's
we'll
great.
not do that.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Not in anything other than
Wow,
a
you
play. Yeah, a little bit of a foregone ending here, I think, unless someone woefully misses the risky fin. Yeah, no, we have our podium places, folks. I think Dylan may have passed on. We're on to our final three, folks. I don't know if I can be heard anymore, but I'm going to keep commentating as if I can be. Hello. Are we back?
I'm back. I made a Borat reference. I believe for my own good, my internet was shut down momentarily. I was put on a timeout, but I'm back, and I promise I will not make another Borat reference until the end of the stream.
I thought you were mad at me. I wasn't sure if I was
just like, hey.
there, or if you had like just left out of pure
With the
rage.
comments about my mom, I'm out of here.
It was maybe too much.
No, as long as you don't say anything about my dad, it's cool.
Okay, well, I'm not trying to imply anything, and as I say that, I feel like I am being incendiary. So let's get on board with Lucario. A contentious topic for the two of us, but I don't think they will be in contention much longer. Gold and Skies and Art, our would-be favorite, has cleared. Gold resetting though.
Gold resetting
too soon.
It still looks like even with the reset, Gold is going to come in ahead of Lucario.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we
had a couple of resets back there as
armor.
well. Unfortunately, kind of as we're into our final three competitors, we are seeing a lot of these resets happening. Maybe there was another opening up of the time dimension. I'm not exactly sure what happened there. But unfortunately for Lucario, whatever it was super effective, and their competition tonight is over.
Canon event. They weren't supposed to win. Referencing
Miguel
a TikTok
O'Hara,
there, people, I'm
put some
so
oil
sorry
on
my
the
brain is
stage.
poisoned. Okay, so if Gold wins this, that's way too on the nose, right? Like,
Yeah,
come on,
I think
Riders.
Skyzen. I'm rooting for Skyzen, as I said
Okay.
a bit earlier. But it's going to be tight. I think we're looking at two highly skilled players. Hopefully, we don't get any time dimension events. Hopefully, we can just see kind of a nice little game of skill. And kind of been pretty neck and neck so far the entire round. Gold pulling ever a little bit just ahead. And that lead does seem to be stabilizing as well. But, it's not impossible for Skyzen to make a recovery. And we could still see this go the other way.
I think we're seeing both drivers have good lines, but their lines are not consistent on section to section. Just slight little differences, like the variability in
we
the
saw
action.
there, kind of Skyzen had the better line there going
I
around
think
the
that's
corner,
it.
but it wasn't enough to pull him through. Looks like Gold's going to take over tonight. Well done to Gold, well done to Skyzen, well done to all of tonight's competitors, but it looks like our number one spot is going to Gold for this edition of the Mini RPG of the Week.
Wow, you can really tell the Riders Guild is still on strike. Gold won. Come on,
Oh
guys.
shit.
Literally.
Weekly plot. Canon events are happening. This is a Spider-Verse thing.
Yeah,
we're in
this is
canon
actually
for
an ARG part
once
of
Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out.
Yeah. We're
Keep
part of
your
the
eyes
advertising
peeled during
campaign.
Beyond the Spider-Verse. You'll actually see me and Drizzly both present in that movie. It's going to be like the Childish Gambino kind of reference that was in Across the Spider-Verse, but instead it's going to be a much worse cameo.
Oh, you mean the guy from Derek Comedy? The guy who
They
said
had
those
Derek
words
Comedy
from that
himself.
skit that I'm not going to say ever again. Alex can say one of those words though, at least once. But yeah, that was a tight fought battle, and it was not at all what you thought it was going to be. Like, Ice eliminated early enough. He usually sets the track records, at least in warm-up rounds. Yannick's also, I think, was I think they were both eliminated before 15.
Yeah, Yannick's definitely was out. I think like around position 18 or something like that.
No, they were
Obviously,
8. They were eliminated at 8 because it was just before the 2 people elimination down to 1.
Yes,
it was.
I apologize for the Yannick slander. Then it wasn't. They didn't do that badly, but again, we did see some of our kind of more traditionally higher finishing players finishing a bit earlier than we might have expected. We obviously did see kind of our big bloodbath at the start, which was an exciting way to kick off a mini RPG of the week. Especially when even after so many people were gone, we still had a lot of players left, so there was still kind of a lengthy competition left after we lost all those people too.
Yeah, you might think, wow, we just got rid of a third of the lobby, but no, it was tense. It was good. There was a lot of fighting in the middle and the back of the pack, and then when it got down to brass tacks, you know, there wasn't that much in it. I mean, it looked like 2 seconds at the end, but you know, when you see someone cresting the skill jump, and you're just kind of like, just walk it in here, you know. So good stuff to everyone, Skies and Art, Gold, and you know, everyone else who made it as far as they did. You know, you get one taste of the podium positions, and you know, for some people it spurs them on and they go on to become multiple week champions, and for some people it just, you know, it fuels the fire a little more to like just try more. So if you're interested in it, do like hop on the MROTW. Was it just hit the command in the chat? Whoever's in chat, you know what to do. Get onto New Lake, get onto Black Pulse and everyone about it. There's a Discord. You can commentate if you know how to speak English, I think. We might be able to get multiple language casts one of the days. I know a lot of you are French, but this is good for your secondary school, and if you're doing a like university level language course as well, I'm sure you'll...
If there's any international baccalaureate competitors out there, Mini RPG of the Week is looking for competitors too.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Thanks to freaking Vortex and Wawa for initiation. It was a great map. I think we enjoyed watching it. I hope the players enjoyed driving it. And if you're interested in it, like, just hit up all the links in the description box of this. This is not YouTube, but hit up Twitter, hit up Discord, hit up,
they're out there, you know.
DM Alex Newalek on Twitter or whatever, or Black Pulse. I think that's the other person to get in touch with.
We want to give a shout out to Haza as well, who was our producer this evening. Thank you for the production, Haza.
Thank you for telling me that I was using my integrated camera microphone rather than my expensive microphone. Saving me a little bit of embarrassment, one DM at a time. I think that's all from us. Shout outs to 16th Tower, shout outs to me, I'm great. Shout outs to Hazlitt, New Lake, and all the love in the world to all of you and yours. Thank you, good people. We've been Mini RPG of the Week, and we'll see you next time.
My wife.